What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about how to find all 6 attachments for the new Heated Madness weapon modification from DMZ. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and although Koshei Complex has only been out for less than a day, we've already been able to uncover some very cool secrets that the studio hid on our new exclusion zone. There's quite a few major additions to DMZ in our mid-season 3 update that weren't mentioned in a blog post or even in the patch notes. I'm excited to break all that down here on the channel, and one of these new additions is a new form of blueprint known as a weapon modification. This serves as an additional quest alongside the weapon case here on our new DMZ experience. Now, I do apologize if my voice does sound a bit off. I'm losing it since I've recorded quite a number of videos and did a very long stream with the launch of our mid-season 3 update, so apologies if I sound under the weather. But I do recommend watching my video that I just posted a few hours ago covering the new weapon case and those rewards over on Koshei Complex. It gives you a better understanding of how this map works and what to expect when you go into some of the areas of this map. Now, you probably saw this new weapon modification next to the weapon case over in the challenges menu if you hovered over that, and this unlock might just be one of the more difficult tasks that we've ever seen added into Warzone. This is more than just a blueprint you can unlock or individual parts you have to find to forge a blueprint. It's a really cool new system that I hope does come back in future Call of Duty titles. So what you want to do is find a barrel, magazine, optic, muzzle, and an underbarrel, which will then grant you with a full assault rifle blueprint for the Cast-Off 7.62. During my first run of Koshei Complex earlier on stream, I ended up randomly finding the magazine in someone's backpack after I wiped them and their squad. Completely coincidental, but what I didn't discover though is that this weapon modification system allows me to selectively add these heated attachments onto a cast-off without needing to have all of them equipped all at once. These attachments only work on the Cast-Off 7.62 and do not work in other weapons a part of the same weapon receiver, and these attachments could be used even before you found all of them to complete the entire collection for that full blueprint. Tonight's video is sponsored by Sly. Now, Sly is the drink of the future, approved by gamers, created by doctors to help you relax after a long session of playing or creating content. Now, this truly is the drink gamers have been asking for and was specifically made to be as healthy as can be. Sly is low on sugar and calories, high on physical and mental health, and paves the way for a healthy sleep-wake cycle after a long day of grinding. Now, you can download the Sly app and pick up any flavor of your choice using my special link down below in this video's description or the QR code on screen, while there's also a special sweepstakes happening where Sly will select the winner and send him or her to a gaming event of their choice for a prize value of $3,000. But thank you to Sly for sponsoring tonight's video. Now, each attachment could be found in one specific location on Koshei Complex, and these locations never change. It would be cool to see additional weapon modifications added to the previous DMZ maps in the future, but for now, this is our only one. Now, this is a shared inventory type system with the attachments, meaning that if one person on your squad exfils with one of these attachments, everyone on your squad will unlock it. Hopefully that's clear. And also remember, there's 4 bunker entrances to Koshei Complex that are within Al Mazrah, all of which require you to solve a bit of a challenge before you can then access the chemical plant, which is the NVG portion of the map, which also comes before you can access the factory where the weapon cases are located. I again cover that more in my previous video talking about the weapon cases, and how to kill the 2 bosses on the map itself. The first attachment we're going to go over is the optic, and it's best to go through the entrance over at Tarak to be able to find this attachment in the most efficient way possible. Obviously, when you enter through Tarak, it's going to put you through a bit of a challenge, which is similar to the first raid where you have to swim through a bunch of rooms, and it's kind of a maze, but you want to find the exit to this area, and you just want to make sure that you're getting enough air as needed. And upon reaching the surface and getting to that next area, you'll see a very suspicious boarded up part of the wall, which you can actually blow up using a C4. Kind of reminds me of the dynamic events and the destructive environments we had over in COD Ghost. So you go in here and you find some more water you can actually swim through, and you can actually find the optic sitting in a very specific corner. The challenge of this area though is not drowning, right? There are no air pockets that you can get a quick breather from, so if you find a rebreather field upgrade, that's best for this challenge here to find the optic attachment. Essentially, you have to know where you're going when you go down here. It's not meant for you to go in blind. Obviously, everybody will at one point in time when they try this for the first time, but if you watch a video like this one, you know exactly where to swim through to actually find the attachment. But that's what this video is for, right? Avoid drowning and just go right in for that attachment. Have your 2 teammates watch your back in case there's other real people in the area, and get right out. But the next attachment is the magazine. So it's best to go through the Oasis spawn here over on Al Mazrah, and once you go through this spawn, if you're familiar with the spawn itself, you'll you'll know that you're tasked with closing a bunch of bunker doors in 3 different rooms. In the 3rd room, however, before you're able to go outside to the chemical plant using NVG, there will be one room in particular where the magazine can be found just sitting in a corner. It'll be very discreet, just sitting right there as you can see. You want to pick that up, and of course all the attachments are in the form of like a case, but when you open that case, obviously the attachment is inside, and that's what you see at the main menu when you go ahead and unlock it. But the cool thing about this attachment is that an exfil isn't that far from where we are right now. Obviously right outside of this bunker door is the chemical plant, and in the chemical plant is one of the exfil elevators. So highly recommended that you get one of these attachments in a certain match and you go ahead and exfil as soon as you possibly can. Don't take any chances. I mean, if you want to be that kind of guy to go for as many attachments as you can in one single match, if you have a crack squad, totally go for it. But for those out there that are playing solo or aren't playing with a squad that's comfortable with the map's layout just yet, exfil as soon as you possibly could. Now, next up we have the muzzle attachment. This is considered one of the hardest attachments for most people to obtain as of right now. The best spawn to go through is Rohan Oil. Rohan Oil provides the easiest and fastest challenge to then get to the chemical plant, which is where you want to go ahead and find this muzzle attachment. Your first task is to find an R4D detector, and I usually end up finding one over in this shack here, right here in the chemical plant. I actually ran into one of these during my very first match of Koshei Complex. So once you find that R4D detector, you want to take that, and of course you can randomly loot it in some different chests as well. It's not the only location you can find one of these things in, but you do need one. You now want to run south until you reach this specific corridor, and you're now going to be in the Alpha Cluster section of the map, which is an area that I never really went to until I wanted to go for this attachment. And you want to keep traversing your way through this area until you reach this specific room. Now watch out for traps, tons of AIs, sentry guns. This room is hot, so make sure you guys take out everything you can in the room, and also be aware of real people that could be in the environment. Again, once you go through any of the entrances to Koshei Complex, and once you reach the chemical plant or the MVG portion of the map, that's when you can start running into real people, and then they can start scattering across some of the other entrances that they might not even have spawned into, but can still explore at any point during their game. So you now want to go up to this door, and as you can see, there's a keypad. Now you're probably reminiscing on the old Warzone Verdansk bunker Easter eggs, because you see a keypad right there, but if you use the R4D detector and you look here at this door, you'll see 3 symbols in a specific order. So in this match, there was an alien looking A, a weird looking symbol that I can't really describe, and then what looks like the letter B, right? Describe those however you like, of course, but what you want to do is find what numbers correlate to these specific symbols, and you could do so by finding blackboards in this room that have conversions on them. The challenge though is trying to find your symbols amongst all the scribbling and seeing what number that symbol is next to. So usually you have a symbol that's pointing at a number, so that's a correlation right there, and you then want to input those numbers on the keypad in the same order of the symbols that are on the wall. So in this game, the alien A on a chalkboard was close to a 3, and that weird looking symbol I can't describe was close to a 7, and that B looking symbol was close to a number 1. And if you put that in the right order, then you should put in 371, and boom, what do you know, it opened this secret door. So again, the symbols and numbers will be different in every match that you play, but this is a clear example of how we did this here in one singular match. Now in this room, you'll find the muzzle and other orange chests, so there could be some good opportunity for regain here in this room, but again, you have to go out of your way to find that R4D detector and then hop over into this area. Might take you a little while, but hey, it's an extra regain opportunity for those out there that don't want to play Building 21 or are tired of Ashika and Al-Mazrah. But next up, we have the barrel. It's also recommended to go through the Rohan Oil spawn if possible. Again, you don't always spawn next to the spawn that you probably prefer, but if you get a vehicle on Al-Mazrah or you play a decent match and you can make it to that section, then definitely go through this spawn because it'll make things a lot easier for the barrel. So this is a very easy part to find. Upon making it to the NVG section known as the chemical plant, you want to walk over into this crate and you'll see the barrel just chilling there on the floor. It's also not far at all from an exfil elevator, like I said, so right when you grab this, you can walk right to an elevator and boom, just get right out of that match. It's probably the easiest part you can find in a match of Koshei Complex, and I also think it's cool that not all the parts are this easy to find. They can mix it up a little bit once in a while, where they make some things really easy to find like intel, and then lock other things behind little quests, Easter eggs, and puzzles that I think really spice up the game quite a bit, and can even give Zombies fans a run for their money. But let me know how you feel down below in the comments about little side Easter eggs to obtain certain parts and then build a really cool looking blueprint. I think it's fantastic and builds a lot of replayability for DMZ altogether. But last and definitely not least, we have the grip. So it's also recommended you go through the Rohan oil spawn, because it's going to be something similar to the process in which we had to obtain the muzzle. And when it comes to the grip itself, what you want to do is right directly from spawn, when you hop into this match of Kosei Complex, look for 3 AQ laptops. Again, this is pure RNG with looting, but if you do navigate through every room you possibly can, it won't be that difficult to find those laptops, right? They're not too uncommon, and if you go through this specific spawn point, it's easiest to find the laptops over in these areas. So upon finding all 3 laptops, what you now want to do is go to that same alpha cluster room where you went earlier for the muzzle, and you will come across this specific server. It'll say inactive on it, but there are 3 wires hanging from the server in which you can then plug in the 3 laptops that you discovered earlier in that match. Upon doing that, it'll open a door right over here, as you can see, and inside will be the grip laying there on the floor and some other loot you can also pick up for your match. But once you grab those attachments in any amount of matches that you had to, the Heated Madness Assault Rifle blueprint will be fully unlocked. The studio describes it as a blueprint designed for accuracy, recoil control, and even range. It's beautiful with just about any camo blend. I mean, look at the mastery camos, look at how the cast off looks here with some of the newer camos just released as of recently, the event camos. It looks phenomenal. Even if you guys take off certain attachments for the cast off and apply them individually with other configurations or some pro tuning you may have already had, this looks great, and I'm honestly surprised that they added this. I'm glad that this wasn't something that got leaked out prior to the launch of Season 3 Reloaded. I absolutely love surprises like this when a brand new update drops. Now, like I said, this is really just an extra layer of DMZ replayability and another grind, really. Something beyond just weapon cases or faction missions, PvP, intel collecting, something new, something we haven't really seen in COD before. And the thing about COD 2.0, right, this new era for the series that began with Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, is that a lot of new systems have been introduced, right? New features, mechanics, UI, things we really haven't seen in previous CODs before, and I want to see more things like this. Once again, reiterating that this is a new era for COD that's going to be offering the most amount of free cosmetics you can unlock if bundles or paid cosmetics aren't your thing. This game has offered plenty of opportunities to go ahead and grind some pretty cool free blueprints and camos and other universal features that we really didn't see before in other CODs, and if anything, a lot of the free cosmetics that have released in this game thus far are things you would have probably thought would have been put behind a paywall for like 2,400 COD points. The last thing I do want to say is maybe this is some type of response to people out there that were asking about what happened to the weapon vault system that also got introduced during the beta window of Modern Warfare 2. The Vault Edition offered a weapon vault, right, which is a blueprint that allows you to change the attachments on it without changing the look of the weapon. So no matter how many times you mix and match the attachments on the weapon, it'll never lose the look of the blueprint itself. That's something that people out there were asking for in games like Modern Warfare 19, Cold War, even Vanguard, because sometimes a bundle would release with a cool looking blueprint, but some of the attachments on that blueprint weren't the best. There were other attachments you'd rather use, but then that would change the look of the entire blueprint and might even ruin the theme that the blueprint was going for. So the weapon vault kind of solved that problem. But something we talked about on the podcast a little while ago with somebody like Espresso is that the weapon vault served its purpose at the time, since it was essentially a maxed out weapon during a time where everybody out there was completely blank, right? Rank 0. Nobody out there had leveled up anything because it was a beta window for the game. So it was a cool opportunity to kind of just jump right in with a maxed out weapon. If they were to release weapon vaults now, they would kind of be a bit redundant. I mean, if it's a mastercraft, I could see why they would release something that maybe costs 24 or 3,000 COD points, and you could change the attachments, it wouldn't change the look of the weapon. But if it's just a blueprint that's like that weapon vault that we saw during the beta, it wouldn't really have much of a purpose aside from the aesthetic, which I don't think people out there would receive all that well. I think that's something that kind of served its purpose at the time, but going forward, I don't think that that would be of much value. Now, I'm also under the impression that weapon vaults take a long time to develop, and I think a better solution to weapon vaults is something like this with this weapon modification system where you can just find attachments around an environment through an Easter egg, whether it's DMZ, Warzone, raids, whatever, and be able to use those attachments individually on one specific weapon. Then upon getting all of them, you can use a full blueprint that has all those attachments combined. That to me is a better system than what the weapon vaults were going for a couple of months ago. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on all 6 attachments here for our new Heated Madness weapon modification? How are you feeling about our new systems that we got over in DMZ and everything else we discussed? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.